What is going on, people? Welcome to my first live. Today I'm going to be drawing Stitch. So we're going to do it the Disney style. So if you're going to follow along with me, grab a pencil and some paper and we can get going. I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to keep it nice and loose, starting with some circles on the bottom of my page, making sure we save room for Stitch's ears. Feel free to be super sloppy. Right now we're just figuring out how round we want. Stitch kind of has a more of a circular head, but it's a little flattened on the sides. Once we have our circle, nice, we can kind of divide that in half, and then we kind of want to use that bottom third of the circle. Now that we got that, we can kind of just start blocking out some key shapes. So we got Stitch's nose here. We'll give a nice big oval shape for his eyes. Got another eye here. And now that we kind of have the generic shape of Stitch, we can go ahead and start locking in some of these shapes here. So we know his eye is going to be fairly this shape. And no need to erase, be super sloppy with it. We're just sketching. And then any of these darker lines are gonna be our final lines there. Will be like our sort of inking, if you will. And because he's got some alien-esque eyes, it's not quite an oval. It's a little flat on the side. Go ahead and do that on the other side. If anyone has been to the Disney Animation Studio at California Adventure, you'll notice this is a very similar way that they do their drawings. Very loose, very quick, and then you can kind of get a little bit more precision with things as you tighten up lines, but I'm just going to be doing it pretty quick. And so Stitch's nose is actually not quite an oval, not quite a circle. It's more like a dog's nose, so we're going to kind of do like a little V shape here, and gonna make a sort of rounded little U at the bottom. Not quite as elongated as I have it, but we can adjust it. Alright, so we have that basic shape. We can add Stitch's mouth. We can kind of start filling this out. So just on the corner of his eye, we'll just start marking it a little bit. Little hash mark, little dimple, if you will, smile line. And from here we can, using that center line, we have his little snout line there, and then make like a stretched out sort of J, elongated Nike swoosh. So for right now, we'll just give it a little gesture. We'll connect it to this center line, and then same thing, we can follow that same shape, mirroring it on the other side. And then we can just kind of gesture his chin in here using the bottom of your circle. And then why don't we go ahead and give him the bridge of his nose. Alright, so now we have our basic face. We have Stitch's general key shapes here. And then so why don't we go ahead and give him his eye. So within our oval, we're just just going to create a smaller oval using the same shape of our large one. Keep that same shape. You can kind of just gesture it in, and once we like our shape, we can use our pencil and press a little darker, and then just lock in that line. You can use an eraser if you want. It's not really the point of this. Just, I use this technique as a bit of a warm-up before I jump into a larger piece. We can get a little circle in there for his for the reflection of his eye. Why don't we go ahead and jump over to the other side. I want them to be about the same shape, same distance, same size. Get that reflection drawn right there. And once we're happy with that, lock in that line. I'm going to go ahead and darken some of these. So just above his eye, we can add a little, like a C here, a little smushed C, and following the shape of the circle, we can form his head, and we're going to connect it just below here. And then we can go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to do a little stretch C. Following the shape of our eye socket, or our little patch here, we can bring that shape down as well. And then the bottom of his face is a little flat, so we can kind of just use this as a guide. And then from here we could just round that as like a big, like the bottom of a bowl, kind of. And we can just connect the two. And then right here, Stitch has a little bit of a separation from his fur on the bottom part of his jaw. So we'll just indicate that. And then we can put in his tufts of hair. And once we have his hair, we can follow the top of that circle and create the rest of his head. Alright, for his ears, he's got some pretty big floppy ears. I may run out of space here, but that's okay. We're still just sketching, so it's not a huge deal. So he does have some big floppy ears, like I said, so we can just kind of indicate where we want them to go. Probably should have given myself more room, but that's the joy of learning to draw. So his ears are made up of a couple different shapes here. So let's just start with the first basic one. Is a pretty much, we have like a triangle here where his ear starts to fold, and then so we can just start loosely sketching in that little smushed triangle, and then from here we can add that the top part of his ear, which is like a shoe shape, I guess. If I had more room, I would bring it down here, and then we can indicate his little cut on his ear, his little cutout, or sound director, whatever you want to call that. And then within this bottom part, we can sort of define where his ear starts to fold. So following the shape of this, we're going to want to sort of line up where his mouth would connect. If we were making this one big solid S, follow that right here. And then this one, this side of the ear, we're going to connect it to this tip. And that's the generic, pretty much the basic shape of Stitch's ear. So now that we have that, we can round that, lock in these lines. Start making some choices. Like this. So that is one of Stitch's ears. I probably made it a little big, but you know, that's kind of the cuteness of Stitch, is his big floppy ears. So for me, it's not a big deal. And then so we want his ears to be the same size. I'm going to go ahead and use the other side of my page. And we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to get this, that weird sort of triangle shape that I was doing on this side. Just want them to be similar shapes. Feel free to create as many guidelines as you need to. Make sure you want, whatever's easier for you when you're drawing, make sure that you can have those guides. So if you need to put a guide, you know, if we're doing eyes, you want the eyes to be the same height, you want to put a guideline through your eyes so that, look, mine are a little off, can match the same height. We can do that. And so for this, for instance, we're going to shade in the eye eventually. So putting gesture lines through it to make sure that they line up doesn't really matter. It's going to get filled. We'll go back in and add the details in a minute, but you know, if we want certain points to line up, feel free to drop gesture in there. It's boom, boom, point, point. Get that to line up right there. Same thing. Pretty much his ears are mirrored. So if we want the little cutout to be mirrored, we can add a little gesture. We know that it's going to be right there. Top of his ears here. And because we did an S shape here, we'll do a reverse S on this side. And then, like I said, it's like a shoe. See, I'm going way too far. That's the problem about having multiple pages when you're trying to keep it smushed. I actually want his ear to be more straight up. So we're going to do that S shape. And you don't have to draw as small as me. If you want to draw big, you want to get a big sheet of paper, do that, whatever is comfortable for you. Sometimes drawing bigger is a lot easier and definitely more fun. I'm just going to drop in that shape, get that cutout in there. And once we're happy with it, we can start locking in the lines like we did here over here. Awesome. All right, so there's our Stitch head. So now that, if we're happy here, we can start finalizing lines, making things darker, adding detail to certain areas. So like I was saying before, we can just go in and just shade in his eyes. If we're happy with the shape and size, which I am. Shade in his nose. Grab the other eye. One thing that I'm starting to notice right now is that the eyes are slightly different sizes, which is okay. Not everything is perfect. We can always go back in and fix it. And this is our Stitch. We can add as much detail as we want. We can keep working it if we want to. However, this is just a sketch. We just want it to be super loose, super simple. You can keep working this if you want. There's no need here. This is just something, an exercise I like to do to get my hand nice and loose, my wrist nice and loose, my fingers nice and loose for when I do a lot bigger, more detailed projects. It's something super fun, super quick, and it starts helping you look at the way you see pictures differently. It's the one great thing about drawing with shapes is that once you start to notice certain shapes in characters, they show up everywhere. Especially in humans, a lot of things, while everyone has a different shape and size, everything is made up of circles, triangles, squares. You can find those types of shapes in everything, especially in organic things. So drawing with shapes and with objects in mind really help the eye sort of distinguish how you can draw those. So if you see certain shapes like all these ovals in his eyes, it helps us determine the shape and size, where they go in relation to the rest of his head. I mean, you certainly can just jump right into the drawing and hope that everything turns out the way that you were wanting it to, but when you take some time to slow down and break it down, that's when you can start seeing consistency in your work. You can draw the same character over and over and know exactly where things are and how proportions are to that character. But that is Stitch. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you want to see me draw next. I'm going to keep doing some more lives, doing some more draw-throughs, and we'll do some more detailed drawings. But this was just a quick little first live for me, and I appreciate all those who are joining and watching live, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much.